Hi everyone, it's Kunihiro. Thank you for coming back to my kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to make Agedashi Tofu. Agedashi Tofu is deep fried tofu with Dashi based sauce. It's a very popular dish in Japan and it's very easy to make at home. So let's begin.
Okay, so these are today's ingredients. I have 270 grams of soft tofu, which I cut half from large size tofu. And for the toppings, I have 10 grams of fresh ginger, 100 grams of Daikon Radish, and 1 green onion. I also have 1 Shiitake Mushroom. I'm adding this to the sauce, and 4 tablespoons of potato starch. I'm using this one for coating tofu. And these 4 are the ingredients for the sauce. So I have 20 milliliters of soy sauce, 20 milliliters of mirin, 120 milliliters of dashi, and 1 teaspoon of potato starch. I'm using this potato starch to thicken the sauce. And by the way, if you don't have time to make dashi from scratch, you can use instant dashi powder. In that case, please get 120 milliliters of water and add half a teaspoon of instant dashi powder. Alright, let's get started. First, please cut tofu into 4 pieces. Cut in half, half of a half, half of another half. Then put them on a paper towel to get rid of excess water. And cover them with another paper towel. If tofu contains too much water, the water will pop and oil will splatter when you deep fry it. It's very dangerous, so please do not skip this part. Leave this outside for about 15 minutes, then it will be ready. And while waiting for tofu, let's prepare vegetables. Peel the daikon skin. Today I'm not gonna use daikon skin, but I always keep it for later use. I usually add it to miso soup. You can wash it well, slice thinly, and add it to soup. It gives additional flavor to your miso soup. And grate your daikon radish. Then transfer it to a strainer and squeeze the juice lightly. Please don't squeeze too much. You wanna leave some moisture in it. So after squeezing, your grated daikon will look like this. Still nice and moist. Okay, next one is ginger. Please peel the skin. I'm not using the skin for anything else, so this time I'm throwing this away. And same as daikon radish, please grate it. By the way, ginger is not as watery as daikon radish, so you don't have to squeeze it. And next, let's cut the green onion. Transfer green onions to a strainer. And as always, please soak the green onions in cold water for about 5 minutes to get rid of sharpness. And 5 minutes later, drain the water. Squeeze green onions well. And it's ready to use. And last one, Shiitake Mushroom. The stem is a little harder than the cap, so that I won't use it today. But the same as skin of Daikon Radish, this part is edible and makes good dashi. So I always slice thinly and add it to my miso soup. Then slice the cap. At this time, don't slice it too thin because you want to enjoy the texture when you eat it. And if the middle part is too wide, you can cut them in half. So this is good size. Okay, shiitake is ready. And by the time you are done with your vegetable prep, your tofu should be ready too. Please move tofu to a tray. And put 4 tablespoons of potato starch next to them. I'm getting ready for coating tofu. Now all the prep is finished, so let's move to the stove. For the time being, place the tray within your reach and heat some vegetable oil first. Turn on the heat to medium. As you can see, I'm using a small amount of oil in a small pot. You don't need to use a lot of oil when deep frying tofu. I'm using only enough oil to cover the tofu. And there are 2 important points when deep frying tofu. The first one is to heat the oil to 170 to 180 degrees Celsius and then put tofu. If the temperature is not high enough, the potato starch will fall off the tofu and it won't be crispy. And the second important point is to coat the tofu with potato starch just before putting them in the oil. If you do it too early, the coating becomes very soggy and it will have a bigger chance of sticking to the bottom of the pot. Okay, so let's check the temperature of the oil. If you have a thermometer, that's perfect. But if you don't, please get chopsticks. Wet the tips of chopsticks with water and wipe off the water with a paper towel. Then dip the tips of chopsticks in the oil. Please carefully watch the bubbles and listen to the sound. Many small bubbles are coming out of the chopsticks, but I can't hear much popping sound. This is about 150 to 160 degrees Celsius. So please wet and wipe the chopsticks before you dip them every time. So this is 30 seconds later, my second attempt. The bubbles are a little bigger this time, and you can hear a more crisp popping sound. This is about 170 to 180 degrees Celsius. This is perfect. Now, coat all sides of the tofu with potato starch evenly and put it in the oil. So this much potato starch is good. And put it gently in the oil. Please make some space first and put the last tofu, because you don't want them to stick to each other. And keep cooking until the coating becomes crispy. It takes about 2 minutes. And about 2 minutes later, once tofu gets nice and crispy, take it out and drain excess oil. Okay, tofu is ready. Now let's make the sauce. Please add 120 milliliters of dashi 20 milliliters of mirin, 20 milliliters of soy sauce, and shiitake mushroom into a small pot. Turn on the heat to medium-low and give it a stir. 1 minute later, once the sauce starts boiling a little, let it simmer for 2 minutes and cook the shiitake mushroom completely. If you boil the sauce too much, it becomes very salty, so please control the heat. And 2 minutes later, when the shiitake mushroom is completely cooked, please add 2 teaspoons of water to the potato starch and mix them well. Then pour the mixture over the sauce. And keep stirring until the sauce gets thicker. Make sure to bring it to a boil one more time, otherwise the potato starch won't be dissolved completely. Okay, now the sauce is thicker and it's boiling again, so it's ready. At this point, you might think the sauce is a little too salty, but that's fine. Since tofu itself doesn't have much taste, you need a little strong sauce. Finally, let's complete the dish. Arrange all the tofu nicely on a plate. Then put some grated daikon radish and grated ginger on top of the tofu. Pour the sauce. And sprinkle some green onions at the end. Clean the plate, and that's it. Now, your delicious Agedashi tofu is ready.
Okay, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed watching today's video. So if you did, please give me this and leave a comment below. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.